in the person of Ayomide Onibokun, GDSC lead and Hack Club lead of Oduduwa University Quiz module. I also have Peterson Oyinaik, lead technical director of Repotech and ex-lead GDSC Oduduwa University. I also have Derek Ziwa, GDSC lead of Kabaya University. I'm sure we're all excited for this awesome session with Olivier Nshimiye. He's an ex-SR intern at Google. We'll be talking about his journey, becoming an intern at Google. We're glad to have you here, Olivia. We sure have a lot of questions for you. So let's get started. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Latif. Hi, everyone. I'm sure everyone can hear me. So, my name is Olivier. I'm a computer science graduate. I graduated this year, and I finished my internship with Google, London office, last October. So, today I'll basically be talking to you about my experience getting Google internship. This is not how to get into Google Talk. You might do everything that's in this video and in this call and don't get in, but just pick the tips along the way and they could be useful. I don't have a lot of slides really, but I want to share with you my agenda so you could easily follow along. I'll start by telling you how to get why you should get a job at Google, or why I did apply to get an internship at Google, and then next I'll tell you about like getting into the process. How do you get yourself into the process of like technical interviews and everything? Because there are two things you need to like work on: getting in the process, getting in the interviews, and acing the interviews, like passing the interviews. So I'll talk to you about how I got in the process, then I'll talk to you about how I prepared for interviews, and how you can perhaps prepare, and then I'll answer some questions. So getting started, I need to find my notes. I hope you can see the slides. Yeah, so basically why I applied. I've heard that there's like a lot you can learn inside Google. You know, Google is a big company. They've like done a lot of tools out there. They have like a big products out there. So there's that part of like I want to know how these things work. Like how do you build such a platform like YouTube? How do you build such a platform as Google Meet, which can handle like 1,000 of users and everything? So one part of it is like to grow as a developer, more technically, more architectically, being able to like understand distributed systems and how all these big components works together, and working with these like top of the industry people. You find like people who invented Python, they work there, people who invented the internet, all those things, like inventors of many things are working there, smart people are working there, top coders are working there. So it was like a growth experience I was looking for, and it's something I think everyone needs as a developer. Like work for one of these big tech companies, see how they do things, see how they run like a large number of teams and big teams. And it should be something useful for you in the future if you want to be an engineer. It's easier to start from like these big companies. You easily get in any startup or any small company than starting from a startup or going big. So that growth experience is there, and the branding, as I said, like if you want to venture into startups, if you want to start your startup, if you want to get a job, it's easier to like get VCs to give you funds if you're a Google alumni next to grad. It's easier to get a job anywhere if you have Google on your resume. It also helps like you work with these top people and you're building connections with them. You don't know where people take you, but like in the future, These are the people you will meet as professors when you're applying to grad school, as investors when you're looking for funds, as CEOs for their own startups when you're looking for your next job. So like there's that connection networking part there. And then there's a benefits conversation. Maybe not the best, but one of the best. Like the salary, the bonuses and everything. So those are like the main 4 reasons I can say that pushed me to apply. There are a lot more, but for me those were like the main reasons. And then how did I get in the process? Sorry. I basically applied a couple of times. I can't remember. By the time I got in the process. I had a DevOps internship I was doing at that time, and me and my friends formed like a little freelancing group. That was something that was on my resume as well. And then I had like 4 projects. Some of them were class projects. Some of them were like individual projects, personal projects. I also had like a leadership role on my resume. So basically, what I would say if you're planning to apply, 2 internships, 2 work experience, and a couple of projects, like 3 projects, should satisfy and show like that you care about communities, you care about like impacting others. If it's this BSc club you're part of, if you lead a team in BSc club, that could work. Yeah, if you lead the club, that's something that shows that you're not in this thing for maybe your own personal benefits, but you also care about community and you're really passionate about it and you want like other people to like experience it. So leadership roles are really great to have. And then for internship or projects, like you can approach a friend who has a startup or campus, develop a mobile app for them, develop a website for them. It could be something you can work on with friends. In this DSC, find someone who's like-minded, work on a project together. These are like things, that small things you can do within like 2-3 weeks, but could go a long way in helping you get like a potential internship or a potential job. It could also be like open source project. It doesn't have to be like a commercial project or personal project. It could be contribution you made to an open source project or any other things. So that was my resume basically. I could share with you. I could share it later after the session. But that was it in a nutshell. Like DevOps internship, I had a lot of experience with a freelancing group. We worked on. By the moment we worked on like 2 projects, I think, and then 4 projects, technical projects, and a leadership role. Yeah, and a couple of awards. Those are like extra, not really necessary. So that cycle I applied for like more than 20 internships. I had like a spreadsheet tracking everything I applied to in the state, like whether rejected, whether I interviewed and everything. But I only got interviews at 4 of them. So Google was one of them. And then Google was the one I got in. I think I got rejected at all others. Or some of them ghosted me. Yeah, that was the process basically for me. It's a quite straightforward one. Once you apply and you get an online challenge, you do it, and once they want to keep you in the process, you get phone interviews. Once you pass the phone interviews, there are typically 2 for Google. One is 45 minutes, and the other is 45 minutes. This is different for like different companies. You could get more interviews depending on the company. You could do more than one question in the 45-minute window. For example, at Facebook, I interviewed there, and it was 2 questions in a 45 minutes interview. Um, so this is different depending on the company. And after that, once you pass the phone interviews, you have the team matching interviews. Like this is where like you meet multiple team leaders, and they describe to you what their team do, what their teams do, and what kind of projects they have for interns, and then if it's something you feel like you can do or matches your skills, you like it's like a matching, dating matching kind of like what skills do I have, what interests do I have, what the company needs, and what skills do they need. So once you match, you go with the team, and then you get an offer. This is quite different as well for full-time roles. You could do a couple more interviews. Uh, I think they do 4 interviews for full-time and 2 interviews for internships. Uh, Other things I see people do, but I didn't do, it's like you could use referrals. Sorry. You could use referrals, or you could other people I see called email or like go to LinkedIn, text recruiters. One thing I'll put here is like you need to be really good to convince someone to refer you. You need to be really good to convince a recruiter to get you in the process. So you need to have like an impressive work portfolio to use to referrals. Like a referral typically is like someone you work with and that you can like root for and suggest to go to hire those people. So those are 2 things you can do, but you really need to have like a convincing resume or LinkedIn profile to get people interested. I also have like people do Google coding competitions like CodeRun and Kickstart, and then get in the process. Recruiters reach out to them. I haven't like interacted with a specific person who went through this route, but I've heard it's one of the options. But yeah, basically that's how I got into the process, I would say. Um, Now for the like coding challenge or technical interviews, I if it's your first time, these are like data structures and algorithm questions. They are typically not really the easy interview questions you can get. They're quite tricky and assesses your problem solving skills. I think most people wonder like why do companies use these questions, even though like you don't use this at your job, like you wouldn't invert a binary tree in your daily job or uh, inventory list or something like that. But basically, what these companies are testing for is problem solving skills. Uh, they don't really care much about like your stack. If you're good in React, or you can like do a whole website in React in 2 days or what. They just like assessing your problem solving skills, because in most cases you find that uh, the tools you use inside, you really have to learn them actually inside, and most likely the other tech stack you've used will help, but not really much as the problem solving skills they're testing for. And yeah, they want a potential software engineer, not a good one. They're willing to train you. So how do you know a potential software engineer? Is someone who can like a software engineer, like in its sense, is like someone who can solve mathematical problems, like have like this program and then like code it out, like make it work, make something out of it. Mostly like complex programs. So they want like a potential software engineer. Problem solving is like the first skill we need before even coding. But yeah, you need to know coding. uh, so like it also helps like them just adapt signals, like can you communicate well, can you identify and handle edge cases, all those other things that you need to be able to do as a software engineer. Yeah. So yeah, like in a nutshell, like they care about fundamental computer science topics, uh, and they're willing to like test you on those, regardless of the coding language. For example, at Google, you might not use PHP, but if you're really good and can solve like these big problems, they don't mind getting you and maybe teach you C++ or Python. Um, I used mostly lead code for preparing and cracking the coding interview. Uh, it's a popular book which like goes through like all variations of questions for technical interviews, and it's a really great recommendation if you're starting out and then use lead code for like practice. There's also a website called pram.com. It's a good for mock interviews. As I said, they're not only testing your ability to solve problems, but also testing your communication, the way you work through a problem. Those are the things you get through mock interviews. Uh, and solving a problem on lead code wouldn't like give you those skills. Sorry. Uh, You can also use other resources. Those are things I use. I use lead code prompt and cracking the coding interviews, but you can use other resources like Akarak, Code Expert, Code Forces, and more. Uh, I would say I also had what's the text? Okay, I'll do that after the session. Like this. I would say have a support group. I had like two other guys who were three, where we'll meet like every end of day solve a question. Like this, like the process is just not a straightforward one. It's not an easy one. Like, you know, it's good to have a support group, like people who are like also willing, like, and want to get these kind of internships, these opportunities, to like train together and motivate each other and mock into each other and give feedback. So it's a good thing to have find one or two friends who you can do this process together and like mock interview each other and all those things. Um, yeah, I'll say like general tips. You don't have to be ready to start applying. You will never feel ready, so just start applying and, as I said, apply to as many opportunities as you can. The more, the better chances you have of getting one. Uh, but like you also have to like you don't have to get interviews to start preparing or doing lead code or like learning these data structures in that way. It should be part of your daily routine because it will normally take like 3 months solid daily practice to really be at the point where you can like pass any coding interview. So as life in general, be proactive about this and start before you really need to prepare. So make it your daily routine till you actually have something secured. And it could not be possible, but like once you're approaching these application times, uh, once you're approaching like summer is a good time to practice. Most schools break and you have all the free time, so you can prepare in summer. Most applications open September, October, and you'll be good. Um, yeah, work on projects, whether open source or like personal projects. Get technical internships if you can. Like do something like get internships, work on projects, work for your friends startup, work for a local company. I was working for like a local company as a DevOps intern. Um, and the other thing is like embrace rejections. It's part of the process, but stay optimistic as well. It might not be something like you're really certain how you're going to get in or when you're going to get in. I was there, but you need to be optimistic. It will happen like sooner or later. And Yeah, that's basically it. If you can participate in Google coding competitions or any other coding competitions, basically code jam, Kickstarter, Hashcode, and yeah, that's basically it. All the best with the application. We could make let's make this discussion more interactive. I'll just stop here and then I'll hear your questions and then we can talk. Thank you. Uh, Links to the resources. Mm, is leadcode.com. Or activities. Let's prompt.com. For more basically, let me see. Well, let me copy this. I received this from my computer. The list of resources you can use. So there's a question on the chat. What are the core qualifications Google requests for? So I would say like be able to code. You don't need to be really good, just be able to code and like have the problem solving skills that I mentioned, like be able to solve like complex computer science questions and be passionate. You have to really like the company and show that enthusiasm through your interviews, uh, through your like people you talk to, your recruiter. Uh, and basically be open mind, respect everyone. Uh, yeah, that's basically it. Like there's this googly thing, being googly. That's what they say, and what it means is like being I don't know how to explain this, but yeah, being humble. Like yeah, if it's something you can do, admit to it and be willing to learn. That's how you get you know a good engineer. They're willing to learn. They're willing like to correct their mistakes and be passionate, be able to solve like these have problem solving skills. Yeah, HackerRank is a good resource. Uh, yeah, it's a good resource. I would recommend Lead Code over HackerRank, but HackerRank is also a great resource. Thanks, Mark. Uh, so about the pay, it depends with your location. You may get up to this amount depending on your location. I was in the UK. I can't disclose my salary, but I was in the UK, and normally the range is like around £4,000. That's more than this uh, in USD, but you also have to account for taxes and other stuff. In the US, it's more than that. No more questions? So for the location, it's quite tricky with the COVID. I applied in 2019, got in at Mountain View, that's California, the headquarters for Google, and that was 2020 internship, and COVID came in. I couldn't go. US blocked all the visas for internships. Um, So I had to switch location and go to the EMEA region, Europe, Middle East, and Africa, where I ended up working at London office. Uh, so US might not be an option for now. You could look at the EMEA region. And with this COVID, there was a flexibility to work in any country where Google has an entity in. Uh, uh, I don't think it will be the same for 2022 because COVID is like almost gone. I think people need to be uh, in the location of their teams. But basically, once you match a team in Germany, you have to go to Germany. Once you match a team in London, you have to go to London. I hope I answer your question, Mark. Reaching out to a recruiter, uh, I would say like look for a role you're really interested in. It must be open first of all. Like look for an open position you're really interested in. Apply, get if possible get the reference code, and then. But I wouldn't say just text the recruiter. Then just wait a bit, maybe 3 weeks, and then like email recruiter say, "Hey, I applied to this position. I'm really passionate about it. Here's my work, and I would like to know how is the process going and everything." I think that's the best way to apply. Like you make the recruiter's life easy. Like the position you're like, applying to is clear. Your experience matches the position you're applying to, and you give them like a reference, kind of a reference. Uh, don't expect them to reply, and don't feel bad once they don't reply. Uh, but yeah, that's how I would go about it. They typically ask for transcript. You can get an official transcript. It doesn't have to be like full and has all the courses. But I did submit my transcript once applying. And yeah, I think it's kind of a requirement. You really need to have it. Because I think even applying for visa, UK visa, I had to get like a transcript. I applied once I was in Rwanda. I schooled in Rwanda. Yeah, so there are no engineering teams, Google teams in Nigeria. I think the only engineering team you can see in Africa is in Accra or Egypt. I'm not sure about Egypt, but in Accra there's like an AI research lab. Uh, like if you're applying for a research role, you might work in Accra, but all other engineering roles are out of Africa and out of Nigeria, of course. So if you get like a technical internship, most cases you have to relocate. Hard skills are important, but if your soft skills outweigh hard skills, can you still make it? This is a tricky question. Yeah, this is really a tricky question. And yeah, I'll answer this personally. I've interacted with like a lot of managers and like hiring managers, not some of them inside Google, some of them outside Google. And amongst your soft skills, you should be able to learn and like perform really. So show me if you're saying like you can learn and do this project, show me what you've done. Like show me your projects, show me your accomplishments in your past internships. Because there's no way I'm going to believe that you can like do this and this if you haven't done it actually. See, in as much as like soft skills are important, like hard skills are also like really crucial because if you can't perform at the end of the internship, what's the point? If you can't, because it's about like, can you do this? Can you get this done? And I assume by hard skills you mean like technical things you've worked on, like and your programming abilities. Uh, I would say like spend time with these hard skills. If you have soft skills, if you can like if you're soft discipline, if you can learn things fast, if you can like execute, use those soft skills to build your hard skills and then apply. Yeah, like these soft skills need to really be reaffirmed by your hard skills. What you've done, like what you have as hard skills. I'd say that's my opinionated answer. Uh, can students who recently graduated apply? Uh, that's quite tricky. Most companies will prefer someone who's going back to school. But some companies will still take you. And the hiring bar for new grad roles is also quite not that high. It's like in the middle of like a normal software engineering and intern. So if you're recently graduated, I recommend you apply for new grad positions. Companies have those specific roles which the hiring bar is not that high. They don't expect you to have like a lot of experience because you're just graduating. How did Google cater for you air ticket to the UK? Uh, so for Google, they basically give you a relocation bonus, which should like pay for your ticket to the UK or to any location you're going to, and like it will pay for your relocation costs and maybe 1 month of accommodation. Some companies will do it for you. You stay in corporate housing, they'll pay for your flight, but for Google, they give you a relocation bonus, which should cover those costs. Uh, can you register for a country and move to that country if I'm being accepted? Yes, in the future and in the past, before COVID, internships will require you to be in a country where your team is located. So if your team is in London, you have to be in London. And as I said, you can apply for EMEA region, like Europe, Middle East, and Africa. And the team you get matched to, like there's a process I say, like after you pass your interviews and everything is well, you get into like a team matching process. Location is one of the things you need to consider if you're matching the team. Is he in a country where I'll prefer to like I'll be comfortable living in, or is he in a city that I like? And yeah, location is one of the things you need to consider while matching the team. So you definitely have to be in a country where your team is. So yeah, you have to relocate. Uh, yeah, I can't see any more questions. But how was the session? Was it useful? Was it inspiring?
I found it very inspiring and informative, especially because I'm not the best coder in the world, but I really would love to work for Google. Um, I think all the information was very helpful, and I definitely, if you don't mind, I would like to pass it on to my GDSC community. I'm from the University of the Western Cape. I'm a lead at, yeah, I'm a lead there. So I found all the information very helpful, and I can't, if I have permission, I would like to share it with my community as well.
Yeah, thank you for the feedback. Yeah, we could link up and maybe chat more about that. Let me leave my LinkedIn profile here. Um, let's chat about this. Yeah, sure. I'll be happy to look into how much the Google pay the interns. This is information I can't disclose, but you can do a Google search. You can go on. There's this website called levels.fyi. It's actually very. It's a website you need to go to if you, in case you need to be motivated to stay in this thing. It feels like a conversation for all these big tech companies at different levels. How it describes quite well. I was working from home, so I didn't get a lot, but I got some. I got some. A t-shirt and a pouch. That's sticker. Easy information from how do you speak? Okay. I would say this is quite I would say like try to meet with all other leads and then like organize like a collaborative session. It's easier for me and it's also easy for everyone because someone from now could ask a question, someone for Unilag will benefit from. So like find like all the leads who are interested in this kind of session and organize like a collaborative session and I'll really be happy to speak there. I think that's the optimal solution. I use Python. I used to use Java, but now I use Python. So I'll say I use Python and Java, but I'm an SRE guy. Most of the things I write are like configuration files, but Python is still like useful in that too. Like when at Google I used a variation of Python, kind of Pythonish. Um, Thanks for attending the week. And if there are no more questions, we can call it a day instead of 15 minutes.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for attending. It's really amazing to have you. So, can we all just take a screenshots? Can we all just make our cameras? Hello, can you hear me?
Uh, Excuse me, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Kakoza.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much, Olivia, for the session. My question is, what about other disciplines? Are they also like people in maybe social sciences and what? Do they have a room? Because I've seen some. Do they have a room to get an internship opportunity to not necessarily
Um,
computer science and distributed?
Most jobs there are business and technical internship. So, uh, like mostly anyone who's not like in this technical space could go for like business internships. there are a lot of them. They could be in marketing, they could be legal, they could be in content creation. Uh, I would suggest like you go through these link and see options available, and most people will definitely fall into those. I think we couldn't hear clearly what the host was saying, but I think he was suggesting we put on our videos for a screenshot or like a good photo. We can do that and like finish the session. Videos on.
Since there's no question, well, you can reach out to him on LinkedIn. Let us meet our followers. Has everyone taken a screenshot?
Yeah.
This is my background.
Took
Okay,
though
so
finishing
I
my
think
thesis one fair.
okay, I think that will be all for now. Has everyone taken their screenshot?
Yeah. Thanks everyone for
Okay, thank
joining.
you. Thank you very much. So I will give you a link.
Yeah. Feel free to text me on LinkedIn. I'll do my best to reply. Just don't send a like, but send something tangible, and I'll try to reply